Hi, everybody, and welcome back. I guess today I should welcome myself back. I made it through the procedure yesterday, and although I can't honestly say that I'm feeling chipper today, I'm alive, breathing, and although we are awaiting test results, it does not look like the big C, but more likely to have been a massive infection for whatever reason. I have always battled with my stomach. When I'm nervous, I would have an upset stomach. When I'm angry, I would have a dodgy stomach after. This eventually affected my colon. We are at the moment not absolutely sure what caused whatever this time, but I trust that as soon as the results are back, we'll know and we will move forward from here. So let's move on from my woes and back to the royals. First and foremost, it is obvious that things are not going well for the Harkles, not in any shape or form. Even Meghan's or then Archwell Audio's application to trademark the word archetypes had been denied, and quite rightly so, as there is already such a trademark in existence. I went and checked, and indeed there was an application made to trademark archetypes in 2013, and it belongs to a cosmetics and perfume company. Of course, this does not mean that Meghan can't use it for her podcast. It just means that she cannot trademark it. So, will Meghan continue her Spotify podcast this year? I absolutely don't know, but I suspect that she won't. But we will have to wait and see. Anyway, what I really want to discuss with you today came in the form of a hypothetical question from a few of you, and I did what I could to dig into it and see whether I could find a hypothetical answer. You see, we are all, or we were all rejoicing when we were told that the lease on Frogmore will not be renewed. Finally, the king is putting his foot down, but then it is not just the king's decision. Anyway, my friend went delving and asking his regular sources, and none of them knew of any risk assessment being done. But they say that the risk Harry and Meghan pose to the king, the heir to the throne, the monarchy, etc., had been talked about more often than can be counted, and the physical risk had only increased a tiny little bit with Harry's admissions about Afghanistan and his drug taking, etc. But overall, the palace is not in a panic about that and feel that it can be handled. At the moment, the public relations aspect is of more concern. Never mind, I digress. My satisfaction in the fact that the Frogmore lease was not going to be renewed was indeed short lived. Very soon we were told, oh, but wait, although the lease expires on the 1st of April, the king had arranged for them to stay on until after the coronation. Then there was a story that they will have until fall to vacate completely and hand over the keys. So we're talking September, October, I think. But now the semi-official word is that they will have until the 1st of July 2023. Now look, the IRS will indeed keep tabs on Harold's domicile in England, and it will ultimately make a difference to his tax assessment. Whether it makes a big difference or whether it makes a small difference, there will be some kind of effect. I read somewhere that someone said that the fact that Harry is renting a property in the United Kingdom but owns one in the United States means that the IRS will not deem him resident in the United Kingdom. Well, no, it depends on which type of visa he's on. Is he on an A type visa, a G type visa, or an O type visa? A G1 or O1 type visa does not require that the person is domiciled or has a fixed address in their home country. However, they are still not taxed on money earned in their home countries, particularly not if that money is from an inheritance or investment made before he or she left the country. So, unless we know what kind of visa Harry is on, we cannot determine what influence the fixed address will have on his taxes. Also, the fact that they supposedly own a home in the United States is no factor at all because legally they own nothing, as the Montecito home is legally owned by a trust, which is owned by an LLC, as I have explained at length in one of my old videos. But I'm not going to linger on the tax issue because we do not know which visa Harry is on. We do not know what loopholes dear Ashley Hale has wrangled for them. And we know the royals have political buddies, so we know something will always be negotiated or worked out for them. And besides, that was not the speculative question. The speculative question reverts back to the question I had all along, namely, why does King Charles really want Prince Andrew out of Royal Lodge? And why offer him Frogmore Cottage? No, it has nothing to do with slimming down the monarchy. According to Andrew's lease agreement, he is liable for all maintenance and repairs. As a matter of fact, I think in 2003, what's that now, 16 years ago, something like that, Royal Lodge needed major renovation, and Andrews spent approximately £7.5 million of his own money. Money which will have to be paid back to him if he vacates before the end of the term of his lease, because the repairs were structural wear and tear and not because of their daily use. So, in fact, it will cost the Crown Estate more or less £7 million to get him out. Now, the same could apply to Harry and Meghan. Technically, if there were upgrades or repairs paid for by them, which we actually know happened, yes, indeed, we know they spend more than the grant allocated to them. We know because, firstly, they told us so, and secondly, if you look at the list of repairs, alterations, and refurbishments, then you will see that there are some which are more of the aesthetic, luxury type, um, let's just call it, more than what was absolutely necessary. Even so, whatever they spent and whatever they can invoice the Crown Estate or King Charles or the Crown for will technically have to be returned to them, particularly if it added value to the property. In Andrew's case, the £7 or so million was going to be offset against the obviously low rental he is paying. And at some point, There was even talk that rental will fall away completely, as otherwise the so-called debt will not be repaid in Andrew's lifetime. Well, we don't know exactly how much of their own money Harry and Meghan spent on Frogmore. We don't know how much, if anything, was in fact billed to Papa. I think if I remember correctly, Papa did give them a gazebo or something outside in the yard. Once again, the agreement may have been that these improvements will be offset against a below market value rent over years. But now the lease will not be renewed, and technically everything Harry and Meghan spent, everything Charles spent as a gift to them, everything the Queen paid for as a gift to them can be claimed back from the Crown Estate. Now just imagine, guys, Harry and Meghan can claim for that Soho House interior designer, that floating floor with underfloor heating in the room Meghan wanted to use for yoga practice. Yes, technically, they'll be able to claim for anything and everything which they cannot load and remove. Well, just think, such a claim could easily be in the region of 2, 3, 4 million pounds. And as it is not income, but technically a repayment, it can't be taxed. Not in England and not in America. Now, I'm no tax lawyer or accountant. As a matter of fact, I prefer to make use of professionals with such things because it is just something I don't want to know anything about. But to me, this sounds very much like a legal way to get tax free money to Harry and at the same time using public money to do so. Now, I'm not making accusations, I'm just saying it is a possibility. Okay, but then what about Andrew? Where does he fit into the picture? Well, I don't know for sure because the latest is that Royal Lodge needs extensive repairs, that there is damp issues, etc. But I looked at photographs of Fergie recently, and as far as I can see, the place looks well maintained, but let's say there are repairs needed, which needs rooms vacated or even the entire property vacated for a couple of weeks or a couple of months, who knows? Well, why can't Andrew go stay at Balmoral or Sandringham then for 3 to 6 months? I believe Ivy Cottage, unless it's rented to someone privately, does not have a tenant currently either. There is so much space in royal residences, whether part of the Crown Estate or owned privately, that there's absolutely no reason why Andrew should be offered or why he should move to Frogmore Cottage. I spoke to someone about it over the weekend, and he told me that the story that the king wants Royal Lodge for William and Catherine because Adelaide Cottage is too small for them is just rubbish. According to my friend, if that is the case, then why not refurbish Frogmore House's kitchen and bathrooms and move William, Catherine, and the children in there? According to my friend, Frogmore House is one of the biggest waste of space and waste of money properties in the Crown Estate portfolio. It is currently basically nothing more than a personal and private museum and entertainment space for the royal family, which is only open to the public 3 days of the year and which money goes to charity. Besides, William and Catherine may have moved to Adelaide Cottage, but they did not give up apartment 1A at Kensington Palace either. No, they still stay at 1A when they have evening engagements in London. Then they also have Amno Hall as a retreat for weekends and school holidays. Then my friend reiterated what someone else recently said, namely that William and Catherine will eventually take over the living quarters at Windsor Castle. My friend said that no matter what happens, William and Catherine will not move back to London permanently. They will not ever live in Buckingham Palace, for instance. They are staying in Windsor for many and personal reasons. The children's education, for instance, and as the children are still young, there's still a long road ahead of them. No, my friend says if the king wants more space for William and Catherine, there are other plans which can be made, and I agree. Let Andrew be. If he can afford it or can make a plan to afford it, let him stay in the home where he has now stayed for 20 years. He likely thought he'll grow old and die there. So let him. It is his family home, and it's not about how many bedrooms or how many bathrooms it has. And by the way, no, Royal Lodge does not have 30 bedrooms. It has only 7 bedrooms, only 2 more than Frogmore Cottage. Okay, so if none of this makes sense financially, and it does not make sense in any other way, then why? Not renewing Harry and Meghan's lease can be explained. I told you the Crown Estate have a long list of legitimate reasons which I'm promised will hold up in any court. Then it is likely that William does not want the Harkles on his doorstep. And yes, the king may have consented because he is angry or ticked off by them. And then, of course, others may be right, and it may be a ruse to get tax-free public money to Harry legally. But why Andrew and Royal Lodge? What is the big issue there? According to my friend, the issue is either public relations and image or money. He directed me to a site advertising luxury homes to rent, and on the very first page, it is clear that the going rate for a 3-day weekend in a 7, 8, 9 bedroom house is between £10,000 and £13,000. Well, what would Charles suggest they do with Royal Lodge once Andrew's out? Would he prefer they turn it into apartments? It was indeed staff quarters, just like Frogmore at one point, and rented out to refugees? Or would he suggest they rent it out as a weekend retreat at, say, £12,000 per weekend? Or does he have an old Saudi Arabian friend who will pay £40,000 per month to stay there? Like my friend says, be careful. Be very careful what you wish for. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to leave this right here and you can think it through and decide for yourselves what is most likely behind all of this. Okay, so until we meet again on the next video, please take good care of yourselves. Bye.